All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushua, Ba'Hashem Mechak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson. Lord's will, this is edifying to the Lord's elect. I had to get out here early today, man, because I got things to do, so I want to see what's popping in the news. Snowing like a motherfucker today, though. It says, Trump's tariffs live updates. EU discusses 108 billion in retaliatory tariffs. Danish PM says Europe will not be blackmailed. So the Dutch trying to put pressure on the EU so they would sell him Greenland, okay? Because he really wants Greenland, because he knows it's coming to that time where he gonna have to create a golden dome, okay? Which is supposed to stop missiles from coming in from Russia and these different countries from hitting America. So he's trying to save America, man. And let's go to Jeremiah 51. Start there. You can't save this place, man. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. And that destroying wind is thermonuclear missiles. You rise up against the Heavenly Father by transgressing his laws. And that's what America does. It transgresses the laws of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Okay, sin is the transgression of the law. And this is why this is the scriptures call this the sinful kingdom. Let me grab that in the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh. So he's not going to utterly destroy the house of Jacob, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But he's going to destroy Babylon, America, where you live at. So the best thing you could do is repent, come to him, and hopefully he saves you from this destruction that's coming, man. Okay, because it's coming, it's definitely coming, man. And that sinful kingdom, you know, just to qualify it, it is talking about the northern kingdom, but the northern kingdom wasn't destroyed from off the face of the earth, like this place is going to be. So a lot of the scriptures, you got to know the history in order to get what's being said here. This is prophecy, okay? And that destroying wind is talking about that thermonuclear destruction that's coming to this place, that he's trying to prevent from happening. Jeremiah 51 and 2. And will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. So those fanners are these different nations who got thermonuclear capability. So they're going to be shooting their nukes as well as Russia and these other nations on American Babylon. Hence why they call it the fanner, because they're going to increase the fire that's going to be ignited over here in Babylon. As a matter of fact, this in the book of 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter. There's a precept that matches up with that. 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter. 2nd Esdras 16, and I forgot where it's at. I'm gonna go look for it real quick. So the fanners are other nations that have thermonuclear capability. 2nd Esdras 16 and I think it's 13. Yep. So 2nd Esdras 16 in verse number 13, it says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. So these arrows that the Lord's talking about, they're not actual arrows, okay? They're actually talking about these missiles, these thermonuclear missiles that are going to come over here, okay? So that you got to be a mighty strong archer to shoot an arrow from the other side of the earth to this side. So it's not talking about that. Okay, it's talking about these other nations that got thermonuclear capability that are going to shoot their arrows over here in America. Okay? Hold on, my alarm. My alarm's going off. All right? Jeremiah 51:3. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth up himself in his brigadine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. And the host is the army, destroy them utterly. Okay, get rid of them. So that's the commandment that the Lord's gonna put in these different nations' minds, in these different military, in the different kings' minds to put in their military. That's his will. Okay, it tells you in the book of Zephaniah chapter 3. Let me grab that. Zephaniah chapter 3, man. The Lord ain't fucking with this place, man. We're not here to be comfortable and think that, you know, we're gonna be here forever, because we're not. It's almost time for this nigga to go. That's why you see what's going on in the world, man. As a matter of fact, when I woke up this morning, I was watching a little bit of the news. The Lord crashed 2 trains in Spain. I think I forgot how many, they're saying over 30, 40 people died, 100 injured, 20 in critical, 5 in, just crazy shit, man, every morning. That's supposed to be high tech. You know, that's what he wants to show the world. Look, we're gonna have high velocity trains and all that. That shit ain't gonna work, man. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse number 8, it says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. And the prey is the so-called white man. Okay, he's not prey now. You're like a prey under him because, you know, he got guns, he got militaries, he owns the banking system, he owns the NBA, the NFL, he owns everything. Okay, so now he's paying you. So now you're the prey. But to the Heavenly Father and His Son, He's the prey. So while He's preying on you, the Heavenly Father and His Son, Yahweh Shai, are preying on this nigga. Okay? For my determination is to gather the nations that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So we got to wait on the Lord to fulfill His will, which is bring these nations that got militaries into the valley of Jehoshaphat so we can destroy them. But let me finish this in Jeremiah 51:4. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. Now the Chaldeans, when you look into that word Chaldeans, it goes into the elites of Babylon who are practicing witchcraft, who are doing all types of sorceries and things like that. Okay, so that's what your elites do. All right, they worship the spiritual demon Satan. That's why they're being accused of committing all types of pedophilia, child sex trafficking rings. That's why they do that type of shit, because it's all some form of some ritual that they're trying to do. Okay, so if you want to be ruled over people like that, just continue, just relax. You'll be just fine. Relax and see what the hell's gonna happen to you. So that's the Chaldeans. For Israel have not been forsaken. Israel's you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You look at your history, you might think you were forsaken. Here it is, the Lord allowed this fucking devil to rule over you, man. You got your land, He got everything. He's in your land right now offering people, you gotta pay $1 billion to sit on a board and discuss how they're gonna rebuild Gaza. So what do you think that's gonna, I'm gonna use he said, I'm gonna use those funds in order to rebuild Gaza. Get the hell out of here. That's not even your land. That's the same type of shit they did here in America. They came here, they destroyed and killed everybody. Then they sent a bunch of Polish, all people from all these Edomite nations, tell them to come over here and gather some and get some land like it was free. So he's coming up to that point where he's gonna that measurement is gonna be fulfilled, where his ass is gonna be destroyed. Okay, it's the book of Jeremiah 51, in verse number 5. For Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God. So Israel, which is in this case, would be talking about the northern kingdom, and Judah's talking about the southern kingdom. Okay, Israel was taken down in 722 BC, and then after that, they came over here to the Americas. Okay, after the Assyrian captivity, which all this history is in the Bible, by the way. All right, but then in 586 BC, that's when the southern kingdom got taken down by the Babylonians. But we returned back to Israel. And then it wasn't until 70 AD when the so-called white man came in there, and then we left. And we haven't been back since. And then we came all the way over here in America, hence being back into Egypt again. Because we were in Egypt in slavery back then, now we're in slavery again, but just a different heathen this time. Jeremiah 51, verse number 5, for Israel have not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts, Yahweh is his name, and Lord of armies, okay? He's in control of all these armies. Though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. It was filled with sin. What is sin? Sin is the transgression of the law, according to 1 John 3 and 4. We broke those laws. That's why the Lord sent in the sword and sent us and kicked us out of the land. That's why we're not over there. Jeremiah 51 and verse 6, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So that's flee out of the midst of Babylon. We got to flee out of this place spiritually. Matching up with Micah 2 and 10, where it says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Our rest is with Yahweh Shai. So we need to return to the shepherd in order to have rest in this world. You ain't gonna have no rest in here. You try to get some rest in Babylon, man, it's gonna come to naught, okay? Because you don't belong here. All right? The Lord always gives you a reminder that this is not your rest. And if he's not giving you a reminder, this is your rest, and you're gonna die over here. Jeremiah 51 and verse number 8, Jeremiah 51 and verse 7. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken over wine, therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, the nations, you look at these different nations, they drunken on the wine of Babylon. They thought, if I can set up my kingdom the way Babylon set up, or America set up, then I'll prosper. But now they're starting to see that don't bring you prosperity. It just brings you a bunch of homosexuals, and it brings you a bunch of wicked, you do a bunch of wickedness, man, which destroys your people, which sets up people to protest in your streets, okay? That's because they drunk another cup. The Iranians, they drunk another cup. That's why you got protesters out there. You can see parallels between what's going on in these other countries and what's happening here in America, especially with protesters, especially with police shootings and killings and things like that. All that's gonna happen over here. And hence, that's what they call Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse number Jeremiah 51 and verse number 9. So that's why the nations are mad, because this nigga you do business with this nigga, and he'll be like, all right, I'll do this, I'll set this up in your country, but just pass this same-sex marriage bill, and I'll give you trillions and thousands of dollars. That's what you niggas sell out for, a homosexual. They came up, they was behind the scenes saying, hey, how can we get them to stop talking about Leviticus, the 20th chapter, so we don't feel, sad about that the Lord, he's making us scared. Because they're homosexuals. Edomites are gay, man. It tells you in the book of Psalms 58 and 3, they're estranged from the womb. That means they're weird, man. They're not upright. Who the hell want to be? That's a disgrace to be underneath these people. They're fucking disgusting. All right? They're base people. And that's what you're starting to see in these last days. You're starting to see, oh, okay, these niggas is exactly what the Lord was talking about. But you got to have the eye salve in order to see them. All right? Jeremiah chapter 51 In verse number 9, verse number 8, but Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. You can't, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to save this place. Going into him building this golden dome. That's just not gonna work, man. That's an illusion. If you understand prophecy, you will understand that, but you don't. So you think, you get proud when you hear this shit. That's why I was bringing out Jeremiah 51, because he said he lifted up himself in his brigadine. So when you look up that, let's look up that word brigadine. In Jeremiah 51. You know, he got you Americans thinking, especially the so-called white man, he proud as hell. I heard Scott Bessent last night say the Secretary of Treasury, some shit like that. He was saying how you Europeans are weak and how America's so strong. But he don't know Revelation, the 17th chapter, that y'all gonna burn this nigga with fire. You're gonna see how strong America is when your ass is getting burnt up. Jeremiah 51, in verse 3, I'm looking up the word brigadine. It says armor, okay? You lift up yourself, you think you're protected, man. Oh, I got Lockheed Martin, I got Raytheon. Those are just targets that Russia and Iran's gonna shoot. You work for those companies. That's why they have so many different locations. They create things, they'll create one part over here, one part over there, one part over there. They assemble it and they send it to these other countries so they can kill kids and shit with them missiles, man. They're known to kill a lot of different people, man. I was gonna work for one of these defense companies, and when we went to go look at some of the jobs, people in the front protesting about how they're killing kids and shit like that. I wasn't even thinking like, I was just thinking it was a job, then I was thinking like, you know what, I gotta watch what job I get, man. You know, you might not, there's smaller protests, you might see a couple people, you know, but there's people speaking out about these things but no one has ears to hear. You know, I wasn't really thinking about it till years later, now I see what they were talking about, you know? And they got a whole pool of people coming out of school looking for jobs. They'll take that job because they want to pay for their schooling. They offering high income. Of course you're gonna take a job like that. Okay, but you putting a target on your back by working for a company like that. When a different military sees these types of places, those are the places they want to hit. Yeah, you make sure you get that Lockheed Martin in those suburbs. That's where they put it, right in the suburbs. You know, you can put it right next to fucking Wakefield, Massachusetts. Blow that shit up. Jeremiah 51 in verse number 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. And eventually y'all gonna be coming to the conclusion, you'll wish you never came here, man. You know, you're already starting to see that America, yeah, it's good to make money here and shit, but you can't really have no life here. You can't enjoy the money that you make. It's better to go be poor with your own people. Okay, so a lot of people are starting to consider, maybe I should get the fuck out of here with the little bit I have. Because it's gonna 10x as soon as I leave this place. Okay, especially with the jobs being taken away with AI. You know, inflation going up. You know, I keep bringing out the fact that he's trying to fire Jerome Powell. And you should see the other nigga he's trying to set up, another damn devil. You know? Then you had Elon Musk, when the year began, he started the Doge shit. He came in there, and then you see this nigga's being accused of all types of shit with his technology. But y'all don't give a fuck about that. Y'all, this is what you like. You like these type of people ruling over you. Especially you Christians, you have no problem, especially if he gives you a small donation to your church, you ain't got nothing to say. All right? Jeremiah 51:10, the Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. So that's what we're doing, man. He's going to destroy Babylon. All right? But going back to the duck, Let's see what he said. Trump tariffs live updates. EU discusses 108 billion in retaliatory tariffs. Danish prime minister says Europe will not be blackmailed. So now he got retaliatory tariffs. He putting tariffs on them. They're saying now we putting tariffs on you. Now I don't know what we actually get from these nations, because you know they're just a bunch of thieves. So let's see. Let me ask Google. What does America trade with Europe? I know cars, you know, especially like German vehicles, Mercedes-Benz, I think Saab, Volvo, I think those are German, BMW. So if you want to buy one of those, you might have to spend $1 million in the near future. The U.S. trades vast amounts of goods and services with Europe, with key exports to the EU, including mineral fuels, pharmaceuticals, so your pharmaceuticals are gonna go up, machinery, aircraft, so you already see these planes crashing. They're already not doing good quality checks. They're skipping steps in order to save money so they can buy their stock again and keep the price high, so it looks good to their shareholders. Hence, just like that train crash in Spain, okay? That's probably the same shit. They probably ain't doing the quality checks. They're probably not cleaning off the tracks. You know, one train derailed, and these are high, fast velocity trains. So you would want to make sure that it didn't get into the details. Ultimately, we know the Lord did it, you know, because this place is being destroyed. But, you know, it just goes to show you that at any moment, at any time, the Lord's bringing out judgment every single day. Tomorrow, you're going to hear about something new. In agricultural products like soybeans and nuts, while the U.S. imports significant quantities of pharmaceuticals, vehicles, machinery, and organic chemicals from the EU, forming the world's largest bilateral trade relationship. Energy, mineral fuels, oils, and natural gas. So the price of these things are going to be going up. Okay? Because if you're not getting it from your allies, who you gonna get it from? You're gonna have to go farther away. You got enemies over there. So what is he gonna do? He must have a stockpile he's trying to get you people to buy. Because he cares about how much money you're spending. He said he's gonna give you $2,000 for the pharmaceuticals. So that's gonna, he's already, in his mind, he think you're gonna be all right, but you're not. You're not. All right. Vehicles, cars, and other non-railway vehicles. Machinery, mechanical appliances and parts. So, you know, you go bring your car, you got a German vehicle, I don't know what other cars they make, but you might have parts, you might have rotors or something like that. If it's made, we don't know where these things are made from. You just always think it's from China, and it might not be. Okay, they might be coming from these other countries, and you're gonna be paying an arm and a leg just to get something silly like that fixed. And he gonna tell you, get something American made. Everything American made sucks. Look at your car, man. Look at your Ford. Your Ford rots out from the bottom. You spending all this money and then the frame rots out. Why the hell would I want to buy something like that? I wouldn't want no American made vehicle. Your shit only goes 90,000 miles. That ain't nothing. I'm gonna buy a brand new car that's gonna go 90,000 miles. I'd rather buy a piece of shit Honda that got over 250,000 miles than buy an American-made car that has 90,000 miles on it. Okay, because he don't have any knowledge. He's and plus, who would want to put money in his pocket anyways? You see what this nigga does with your money? He ain't saying nothing to Elon Musk about Grok and what he's doing with little kids' pictures. He's cool with that nigga. Oh yeah, go in the government, go check out go find all the fraud, he's told him. Get the fuck out of here, man. Hence, it just shows you that, you know, you being accused of being on the Epstein's list, I don't expect you to say anything to Daffy Duck about that. Tells you in Amos, the 3rd chapter, can two walk together unless they be agreed? They agree with each other. They're both wicked. So that's what they do, man. So now they're doing retaliatory tariffs. So who has to pay for the tariffs? When countries put tariffs on each other, who pays the price? Countries impose tariffs on each other like recent US-China trade disputes as taxes on imports, but the ultimate price is shared, often falling on domestic consumers through higher prices, the importing companies or the foreign exporters who must lower their price to remain competitive, with the exact split depending on market factors like product demand and competition. While the importer pays the tariff initially, they decide whether to absorb the cost, pass it to consumers, or pressure the foreign suppliers to reduce their price. So who do you think is going to pay for the tariff? Yeah, I'm going to pressure the foreign supplier. Yeah, you want to supply us. I'm pressuring you to pay the tariff in order to sell it over here. I'm going to say, if I'm that foreign supplier, tell them fat Americans to pay for it. They got money. Look at our dollar. They can pay for that shit. I ain't paying for shit. Okay, he ain't gonna pay for it. What about you, the distributor? He gonna say, fuck you too. Okay. Well, so fuck me, then it's fuck you, and he's saying fuck me, and I'm saying fuck you, you're saying fuck me. Then fuck them. Yeah. Let's fuck them, and all of us agree. Let's go. And that's what's gonna happen to y'all. So that 108 billion, that's them going against you. Good luck. EU capitals have entered discussions to implement tariffs up to 107.71 billion on American products after President Donald Duck posted his plan to levy new tariffs on Europe on Saturday. Donald Duck said the U.S. would implement 10% tariffs on 8 European countries he says are getting in the way of a U.S. purchase of Greenland. They don't want to sell you that land. Why the hell would I want to sell you anything? I don't give a. I'm not making war with everybody in the world. Why would I want to sell you that land? I sell you that land, and what about me? What you gonna tell me what the hell to do? You gonna run your country? You gonna run us like you run your shitty ass country, your shithole country? That's how these Europeans think. You calling us weak? Okay. We'll see. We'll see if we're weak. When the Lord gives us that commandment, we're gonna see how weak we are. You don't know, we're the fanners, man. Okay, we're gonna fan Babylon. We're gonna make sure it's nice and hot over there. You ain't gotta worry about any fuel costs. You ain't gotta worry about any oil prices, man. We're gonna make sure. He said that's through the Spirit, because Scott Bessent said we're on fire. We're one of the hottest nations, Scott Bessent said. You ain't hot enough, man. You're gonna be hot though. You're gonna be real hot in the near future. China and Russia want Greenland, and there is not a thing that Denmark can do about it. They currently have 2 dog sleds as protection, one added recently, Duck wrote. Only the United States of America under President Donald J. Duck can play in this game, and very successfully at that. Sure you can, man. That's why Canada wants to do more trade with the Chinese man Moab. Because Moab will give you the deal of your life, man. Esau can't do that. He don't know how to make anything cheap. He's too greedy to give you something at a good price. He wants to rob you. That's all he can do. Rob, steal, and kill. He was selling you Chinese goods at the price of American goods. Now he's telling you, I'm gonna give you American-made products. No, get the fuck out of here, man. Nobody wants that shit. It tells you in the book of Isaiah 19, he calls Egypt to err in every work thereof. Why the fuck would I want to buy something from a nigga who causes everything to err in every work thereof? Isaiah chapter 19, In verse 14, the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err, and every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. That's how he is, man. He's like a drunken man staggering. You want a drunk man working on your vehicle? I don't. I'm good. Okay. You want someone that's always he's always an error with his work? I don't. The nigga's transmission can't even make it to 90K, man. You can buy a brand new truck, 2025 Ford GMC. You can get a Chevy Silverado, and your shit shit the bed at 100K. And then he'll look at you like you gotta buy a new transmission. You like, nigga, shouldn't this be under warranty? Or the warranty was only for 65,000. So I gotta pay for it all. Yeah, you gotta pay for everything. We'll give you a deal though. We'll give you a coupon for $150 because we like you. Foolishness. The countries Denmark, Sweden, France, Germany, the Netherlands, and Finland, Britain, and Norway are already subject to U.S. tariffs between 10 and 15%. Tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. So there you go. It risks a dangerous downward spiral. Okay, between NATO, EU, the whore, the beast. He's trying to ditch this beast, man. But this beast is gonna kill him. He's been riding this beast too long. Now the beast is like, man, I'm not fucking with this bitch anymore, man. Get this white bitch off my back. I'm gonna fuck her up. You know when your animal decides to attack its owner, just like that monkey. This lady had a monkey, and the monkey gouged her eyes out of her face. Okay, that's what this beast is gonna do. But except it's not gonna gouge her eyes out of her face. It's going to burn her with fire, like it says in Revelation 17 chapter. You see if there's anything else. It says, oh, it says everything. Hold on. The 8 nations said in a joint statement Sunday as EU members plan to meet to discuss possible countermeasures. They're still talking about countermeasures. They just took out 15. Germany sent like 15 soldiers over there, and now they took them back. It's just foolishness. That's why Scott Bessent is talking the shit that he's talking. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen praised the consistent message from the rest of the continent, saying Europe will not be blackmailed, a view echoed by Germany's finance minister and Sweden's prime minister. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was asked Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press whether Duck's stance toward Europe is a negotiating tactic, but Bessent seemed to indicate the president wouldn't change his mind. Europeans project weakness. U.S. projects strength, he said. The president believes enhanced security is not possible without Greenland being part of the U.S. So Duck, it wasn't playing about Greenland. He really wants Greenland. Okay? He's calling them weak. And it sounds like he'll deploy some shit over there to take some shit. But it's all vanity at the end of the day, is what I'm gonna get to in a second. It's all vanity. This devil got the whole world. You take Greenland, nigga, you could take the whole world. And you're still gonna lose, man. You're still gonna lose. It tells you in Obadiah, the seventh chapter, that they that ate thy bread have deceived thee. So we're gonna see, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna deceive you. You're gonna actually think you got the upper hand, then they're gonna burn you with fire. Let me grab that in Obadiah real quick. Obadiah, I'll start at the top, point to 7. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. So there you go. That's the counsel that the Europeans are going to take. Arise ye, let us rise up against America in battle. That nigga think he gonna put his red fingers on anything in this land. We gonna get at her. You down? Yay, yay, yay. Okay, we all agree. The ambassador of these different presidents, prime ministers. All right, and that's for the other heathen nations too. That's why Iran's talking this shit too. They ready to go to war. Cuba said they got 1 million strong ready to go to war. All right? Mexico's even talking her shit. But all this is rumors of wars, you know? We got the MOTB that has to be established. And then we know that these wars are gonna kick off. World War III is definitely gonna happen. But it's not gonna happen until that MOTB gets mandated. Everything, all the pieces are being put into place for the MOTB and Jacob's Trouble to be put in place so he can execute his agenda. Simultaneously, the World War III is gonna kick off. Obadiah verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. So Esau, Edom, he's greatly despised amongst these different nations. Okay? Especially amongst the prophets too. Israel, that's our enemy. But now the world, he's greatly despised amongst the world. When you look at that word small, it goes into being insignificant. They know they don't need this nigga anymore. That's why these other nations are saying, fuck this nigga, let's go make our own money. Make our own digital currency. Okay? We don't have to do business like that. Well, these heathen, if they had the chance to reign, they'd do the same thing. They'd end up, the shit would end up just like this, just in a different part of the world. This nigga, the Moabite Chinese man got cameras all over the place. And he doing that to his own people. Imagine what he would do if he had the influence that America has over the whole world. He'd be worse. He'd be trying to, and he'd be proud too. That's why these heathen can't rule. You think the people in China are happy? They're not happy, man. They want Israel to rule. They had enough of that fish smell all over the damn place. It's all types of pollutants in the air over there. They gotta wear masks all the time because of those nasty ass companies that are over there. So Moab don't know how to rule either. As smart as he is, he's one of the dumbest heathen too. Right under Esau. Esau is the dumbest out of all of them. You're gonna start to see that as we get closer to the end. Moab's just a fucking dumbass. He's an idiot. Look how he rules, man. So-called, even Ammon, the Japanese man. He's smarter than, Ammon's smarter than Moab. That's what I would say. I think Ammon's smarter than Moab. He makes a good engine. Ammon's gonna be all right. Ammon's gonna be all right, man. You know, when we get in the kingdom, Ammon's gonna be hooking it up, man. But they're all proud. So look at, Japan had their time. Who they joined with? The Nazis? They don't even talk about all the shit they were doing. But they would do the same shit. Because they'll never have the laws written in their inward part. So they're prone to just keep going the wrong way. So that's why we need the Lord to intercede for us on this. But they're starting to see that Esau, they coming up against them, man. Going back to Jeremiah 51, being mad at the fact that they even was dealing with this nigga. Obadiah verse 3, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's what he thinks. Esau thinks, who's going to bring me down, man? I'll go take your land. He said, we can do this the hard way or the easy way. So it sounds like he's about to go hard a little. He's starting with the tariffs. That's kind of easy. Tariffs never really work. You can see that with Russia. Russia still attacked Ukraine, right? So it's not gonna help. It's not gonna help him. This nigga don't know how to do any foreign policy. He's a failure. He don't know how to do business. You hired somebody who gets bankrupt to run a business. He can't run the business, man. He's doing it wrong. First of all, you should be establishing the law, statutes, and commandments, but you're not. So you're gonna be destroyed. Just like you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans got kicked out of the land of Israel because you didn't establish the law, statutes, and commandments. You being ruled over the basis of men. Same thing gonna happen to him. The Lord's gonna exalt us and put him back where he belongs. We actually belong up there. He actually belongs being a peasant, being a slave. Okay, Obadiah verse number 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Yeah, you exalt yourself as the eagle. The American symbol is the eagle. Okay, so that's talking about Esau. That's a sign of this Bible exposing who Edom is, who the Lord hates so much. That's being manifested every single day. He even hates himself. That's why you got EU and NATO talking shit about him. They're all Edomites. So that shows you, even on a spiritual level, that's how he feel about himself too. He hates himself. That's why he's more prone to shoot himself in the head. Obadiah verse number 5, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Yeah, so, a thief would steal until he had enough. If the grape gatherers came, they would leave some grapes, meaning like those gleaning grapes. If some grapes fall on the ground, you would keep them moving. You got the majority of everything. You come in and snatch up the gleaning grapes, right? How are things that Esau searched over? Well, ultimately, it's talking about how the Lord's going to leave him, okay? It's talking about the Lord's going to take everything away from this devil, man. All right? He's taking everything. He's even taking his life. He's wiping him out. He's not gonna leave no gleaning grapes when it comes to Esau. It tells you in the book of James, in the book of James, chapter 2, verse 13. Yeah. For he shall have judgment without mercy, that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. So you're going to have mercy that showed no mercy. Mercy rejoiceth against judgment. Pretty much meaning if you showed some mercy, that mercy would have been showed to you during your judgment, but he showed no mercy. So you're going to be left with nothing. Okay? Your kingdom, your people, they're all going to be destroyed. But first, you got to go into slavery. Obadiah, verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So Esau is searched out through a multitude of ways. First, by the prophets. Okay, the Lord revealeth the secrets unto his servants, the prophets, according to Amos 3 and 7. Let's grab that. So that's how he searched out. The Lord he revealed him to the prophets. Amos 3 verse 7, surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. So he gave his servants, the prophets, the spirit to know all things. So that's why we know who the so-called white man is biblically. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's talking about the so-called white man. He's being revealed as the son of perdition, the son of destruction. Okay? This is the time that we're living in. Luke 21, verse 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, talking about 70 AD, and shall be led away captive into all nations. Going into Deuteronomy 28, verse 64, we've been dispersed into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So Esau is Gentile. He's a heathen, a natural born heathen, a natural born Gentile. Not one that is a descendant of Israel, but lost his way. And now he thinks he's a Gentile. No, he's not like that. He's an actual heathen. Okay? It's the book of John 17 and verse 12. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. Those that thou gavest me, I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scriptures might be fulfilled. Yeah, right. So that's talking about Judas Iscariot on the forefront, okay? But the scriptures must be fulfilled going into Esau, Edom, having that time to reign, okay? He's that Gentile that's having the time to reign. He's in the land today, and the scripture, just for the scriptures to be fulfilled. And then when the Lord comes, that's the end of his reign. And that's the beginning of Jacob's reign, according to 2nd Esdras, the 6th chapter. 2nd Esdras 6 in verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So Jacob, or you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that's when we can rest. We can rest when we're in power. You don't rest while you're in slavery. No, you work, okay? You labor, okay? You go through what you need to learn your lesson. That's all. This is a punishment that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are in. Okay? And to acknowledge the sins, your sin. That's the problem that the Lord has with the nation of Israel. You don't like to acknowledge your sins. So he punishes you. Hosea 4:1, hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. For the Lord have a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood touches blood. Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish, with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven. Yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priests. Yeah, that's what you do. You strive with the priests. All right? Meaning you fight with them. Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy thy mother. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So it's showing you that the laws not being implemented created a lot of chaos in the land of Israel. Blood touching blood, more iniquity, people dying, and that's you doing it to yourself. Now, how much more Esau doing it to you? You see what he did with the Assyrian. He brought him in, kicked you out the land, and then he sent an angel and destroyed him. Okay? So he'll use the heathen nations to bring forth judgment, but then he'll bring judgment on those heathen. So that iniquity has been accomplished. Okay? Where we're coming to the end of you being punished. That's why you ain't going back into slavery. Now it's Esau going back into slavery. He's coming up out of this place, and we going up and he's going down. You look at that word controversy. It talks about a case at law. So you got charges that the Lord is that you got pending charges, okay? We all got charges on us, if you want to metaphorically say it like that, for transgressing his law, okay? And we're looking for a pardon. We're looking to be redeemed. We understand that we sin now, you know? So he's dealing with only a few men, and he got his arm stretched out to the nation, but not everyone's gonna repent. So the majority of y'all, you ain't saved, you're gonna die, okay? He's gonna kill your ass. Read Jeremiah the 15th chapter, and that's going into a couple of your judgments, all right? And one of them is getting eaten up by dogs. He got dogs to tear, so good luck with that. You enjoy that. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 6, again, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So it's through the scriptures, it's through the prophets, it's through his tongue falling upon himself. Ultimately, it's the Lord exposing him. You know, you're hearing things about the Epstein files. You're hearing the prophets speak about, you know, who he is according to the Bible, his mannerisms and his characteristics, things he's done in the Bible. Okay? So those are the witnesses. That's the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. We're witnesses. We're witnessing the wickedness that this nigga's doing. All right? And we're reporting it to the Heavenly Father and his Son. Constantly, so we can be redeemed, and you know, and he just get more and more exposed. He told Isaiah to keep prophesying until everything be destroyed. Okay, so that's what you got to do. Obadiah verse 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So they said they're going to prevail against you. Okay? They deceived you. They deceived you, man. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, man. Okay? They're going to bring you to that cutoff point. They're going to help you out. They're gonna backdoor you, man. They're gonna give you the arm around the shoulder, just like in the movie Paid in Full. When dude Alpo went and shot, what's his name? And took the cocaine bag. I think he had 2 bricks. You know, that was his man, and his man came and shot his ass. He deceived him. Okay. That's the same thing that's going to happen to Esau, but set with thermonuclear fire. So it sucks to be an Edomite in these last days, I tell you. It says Europeans project weakness. U.S. projects strength, he said. The president believes enhanced security is not possible without Greenland being part of the U.S. On Saturday, protesters rallied in Denmark and Greenland, with thousands in Greenland's capital city of Nuuk chanting Kalalit Nunanet, the island's name in Greenlandic, as they marched to the U.S. Embassy. Those protesters came after former NATO head and former Danish Prime Minister Anders Fogh Rasmussen said Duck was speaking like a gangster and using Greenland as a weapon of mass distraction from the war in Ukraine. He said he was speaking like a gangster. He is a gangster. He's a thug. That's what Edomites are. I was just watching some ICE agent get pulled over. He was drunk in Miami. You should have heard his mouth, man. Shows you the word shows you how defiled he is, man, on the inside. And this nigga got full-blown immunity. One of the brothers in LA did a video on an ICE agent who raped some lady, man. Now he went to jail. He's being accused. He's on the newspaper. But the Lord Lord showing you what type of niggas he got joining that shit. Real pieces of shit. Real low-level white people, man. Real demonic, devilish, nasty, fucking Edomites. Walking around with masks on their face. You think they're fun, you think they're your friend. You gonna see in these last days, man. Especially when Esau can get away with some shit, you be surprised what the nigga do to you. And you men too. That nigga's a homosexual. You better be afraid, man. A lot of them dudes that join that shit, they all faggots, man. All of them. That's what Edomites are. Bunch of homos. May the Lord destroy all these damn Edomites. That's why I pray the Lord give us some. I pray the Lord give me some real power, man. Just enough to knock a nigga's head off with my fists, with my bare hands. Just give him one of them old Mortal Kombat. You know when you press down on Mortal Kombat and you uppercut and then they go to the next floor? Yeah, that's the type of power I want. It says, meanwhile, the U.S. Supreme Court's first two opportunities to issue a verdict this year on the implications and legality of Trump's global duties on trade partners have come and gone without a decision. So, it is what it is, man. They come and gone without a decision. We read us in the book of Joel, chapter 2. They come and gone without a decision, man. So, long story short, that matches up with Obadiah the first chapter, where these things are gonna be, where these allies and shit are gonna be working up against them. But I want to grab this from Joel too because, you know, he wants to take over Greenland because he wants to create this dome. He wants to create that iron dome. I start at the top. Joel 2:1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. So we blowing the trumpet, letting so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans know that the Lord's nigh at hand. He's soon to come, okay? And what the Bible says of what the type of things are going to happen in the future, you know, especially with the thermonuclear destruction, the famine, you know, civil unrest, all of these things, man. The famine of the word. Speaking of the famine of the word, there was the United Kingdom. The Duck said he's setting up asylum for Jews in the UK because of anti-Semitism in Britain. All right. So, you know, which shows you this is becoming a worldwide issue now. So now they need asylum now. So this is an issue that they're going to use to try to take away more of your First Amendment rights. Okay? Because whenever they use that word, it's for evil. It's to take away your rights. It's to put you into captivity. It's like the ADL dude said, man. You got the FBI watching us. Good. It tells you in Isaiah 34, all nations, you FBI agents need to hear it too. That's what the word says, man. The Lord don't care if you're an FBI agent. He don't care if you're FBI. He don't care what the fuck you are, man. Who you think you are. Okay? He is no respecter of person. Joel chapter 2, verse 2, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, they have not been ever the like, neither shall it be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. And that's talking about the thermonuclear missiles. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape. Yeah, it looks beautiful now, but after the thermonuclear missiles, it's going to be destruction. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run, meaning they're fast. Those missiles are quick. Like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. So it's liking these missiles unto a military formation. Joel 2:6, before their face the people shall be much pain, all faces shall gather blackness. You're going to be much pain when you understand that these missiles are coming to destroy you. Joel 2:7, they shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, meaning they're gonna do exactly what the Lord told them to do. They're not gonna break their rank. When you look into breaking your rank, that means you pretty much desert with your commandment. That's not, these missiles are not gonna do that. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk everyone in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. And that's talking about Esau's golden dome. When they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded, meaning they're not going to hit the sword, man, all right? But I'm going to end it here. Lord's will. This is edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, Shalom, Abad Babal, and Kwam Yasharala.